It's an inquiry into the fitness to hold office of Nom-gcobo Jiba as well as Lawrence Mrwebi. Our man on the ground is Sipho Stuurman. Sipho, thank you very much indeed for your time. Let me ask you this first. Why was the NPA senior prosecutor, Advocate Jan Ferreira, temporarily stopped from giving his testimony at the Mokgoro Enquiry yesterday?
Well, a very good morning to you and our viewers at home. Indeed, Advocate Jan Ferreira was temporarily stopped yesterday because the inquiry needed to seek clarity on whether the NPA would be reinstating the perjury and fraud charges that are against Advocate Jiba Eben.
Mokgoro asked both teams to submit the heads of argument by, I understand, today. Is she likely to rule on the matter today?
Well, basically, we need the NPA to come here and sort of give clarity on whether those charges have been reinstated or not. Remember, the charges were dropped back in 2015 by former NPA head, that is Shaun Abrahams. However, the North Gauteng High Court then reinstated those charges, so which meant then the NPA, the matter went back to the NPA to decide on whether then these charges will go ahead again. Now, what happened here yesterday is that Jiba's legal team then said that it cannot be that the matter relating to these charges is going to be under investigation at this inquiry, and then at the same time you have a possible criminal case that is taking place should the NPA then reinstate the charges. So clarity was needed, and Justice Mokgoro then asked that the two parties must go back to the NPA and seek clarity on what is the way forward. So we are waiting for that outcome. Hence, Jan Ferreira then could not testify on the on this issue of these charges that Advocate Mrwebi, that is rather Advocate Jiba, could possibly be facing. These charges, of course, relate to her handling of the KZN Hawks boss Johan Boysen's case. Apparently, we know that Jiba authorized that case or that investigation, but then it was found that it was an illegal and unconstitutional move on her part. Hence, then she faced these criminal charges. But it's in all likelihood, since they were turned back, they might come back. Now, the question is then, can these criminal charges that she is likely to face, also be a subject of this inquiry? But then the inquiry could not decide on moving forward with this matter unless up until the NPA has clearly stated that it's going to proceed with the charges against Advocate Jiba.
I just want to go through some of the rules and regulations of this inquiry. Is it mandatory for Jiba and Advocates Jiba and Mrwebi to be physically present? I know they're represented by their lawyers, but are they physically present every day for this inquiry?
Yes, they have been here from day one since this inquiry started this week. They've come here, but of course, so far their testimonies, they've been represented by both their legal teams. They haven't, taken to the witness stand so far. We've heard about 4 witnesses that have been called, including the current acting NPA head, Dr. Silas Ramaite, who came here. But really, there hasn't been an explosive evidence that has come here. I think the really explosive evidence came in the form of Advocate McAdam, who alleged that when he was in charge of what you call foreign bribery cases, he alleged that Advocate Jiba moved him from those cases and put those cases at the hands of Advocate Mrwebi. Now, Jiba and Mrwebi are the ones whose fitness is being called into question here. So now he alleges, this is McAdam on day 2, he alleged that these foreign bribery cases were moved away from him by Jiba to Mrwebi, but then once they were moved, these cases never went forward. They sort of stalled. So that sort of line of evidence speak to this charge they're facing, and these charges of mishandling, high-profile cases. However, then under cross-examination, the very same McAdam did concede that he had no tangible proof of Jiba's hand in the matter, as in that Jiba actually was the one who removed him from the foreign bribery cases. Obviously, then the inquiry will decide on how it takes that evidence forward. Yeah. But right now, we are waiting for a decision on Jan Ferreira, whether he will give evidence regarding the investigation into Jiba handling the Boysen's case in KZN. And of course, that case is the one that led to Jiba being charged with those perjury and fraud charges that were then dropped by Abrahams, the former NPA head, but then the court then forced the NPA to re-look into this matter. And now as we sit with the NPA needs to announce whether it's reinstating these charges.
No doubt, Sipho, you're scanning the room there and keeping a close eye on Jiba and Mrwebi. What sort of reaction are you seeing from advocates Jiba and Mrwebi when witnesses are giving testimony?
Well, I mean, I've heard words off camera, especially with Advocate Mrwebi, and he's mentioned that, you know, especially when it comes to his decision to, you know, drop the charges against former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli. He has said that, you know, he stands by that decision, and that if the case against Mdluli was a strong one, then why hasn't this case been re-enlisted and has been successfully prosecuted? I've also had a chance to speak with Advocate Jiba's legal representatives, that is Advocate Zola Majabu, saying that, well, she has a right to, you know, to come here and fight for her rights and exhaust every legal position that is available to her to keep her job. But I mean, if you look at Advocate Jiba on her own, she's facing this inquiry into her fitness to hold office. There's a possibility of the perjury and fraud charges being reinstated by the NPA. She's also fighting to remain on the role of advocates. That is a case that is before the Constitutional Court. And fourthly, now there is also a link to the state of capture inquiry where we expect evidence there that links her to receiving bribes from Bosasa of up to 100,000 rand per month to stop possible prosecution of Bosasa. So of course these are allegations, but she was informed by the state capture inquiry that she is implicated. So we're looking at a suspended deputy head here that has a number of legal issues that are against her.
No doubt, interesting dynamics coming out. 4 witnesses, as you said, have been called so far, and it's only Thursday. Do we know how many more witnesses will be called?
Well, the commissioner said that it has not finalized the list of witnesses, but it says that there's quite a number that is expected to come through. We don't have the names, they haven't released the names, but what we do know that today we have the senior NPA prosecutor, that is Advocate Jan Ferreira, who is expected to, of course, to give evidence that is likely going to implicate in a bad light Advocate Jiba in terms of those perjury and fraud charges that she is facing. Hence, the legal team was very strong in trying to block that testimony from going ahead yesterday. And now, once we are not yet clear if the NPA has communicated its decision to the inquiry on whether it's reinstating charges against Jiba or not. So we're going to find out that, and then we're going to find out the way forward once it's become clear if the NPA is going to reinstate charges against Jiba.
10 o'clock, you say it starts? Sipho, does it start at 10 o'clock?
Yes, 10 o'clock we are live with Justice Mokgoro.
Great.
Yes, it starts at 10 o'clock.
Good stuff. Thank you very much indeed for your time and your reporting. Sipho Stuurman live for us in Pretoria.